Tuesday, January 27th, 2026. Please note that a copy of the Open Meetings Act is located on the north wall of the Legislative Chamber alongside an automatic external defibrillator. Please stand for the pledge. Our first order of business is the Douglas County Board of Equalization. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Borgeson. Commissioner Kavanaugh. Commissioner Kavanaugh is present. Commissioner Fahey. Commissioner Friend. Commissioner Morgan. Commissioner Rogers. Mr. Chair.
Here. First item of business are items A and B, A being the approval of the minutes of the Board of Equalization meeting held Tuesday, January 13th, 2026. B being a call for a meeting and set Tuesday, February 3rd, 2026 as date for a hearing on certified assessment corrections reflecting the addition of omitted property to the tax rolls or increased value on property. Do I have a motion and a second from both? Motion by Morgan, second by Rogers. Do you have a comment, Commissioner Rogers?
No.
I saw your line on. All right, and with that, we'll vote.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. Next, we have our resolutions, items C, F, and G. Please note that D and E have been stricken for now, as well as the protest item that was going to be after this. So we could take C, F, and G in block plus adjournment if desired. Yep.
Items F, and G, and leave C to separately address.
Okay, sounds good. Well,
Yes.
motion to approve F and G and take C separately by Rogers, second by Morgan. So with that, any discussion on F or G from board or public? If not, we'll vote.
One moment, please. Okay, thank you. Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. We'll now take item C separately, which is denial of 2025 permissive exemption applications. Commissioner Rogers, did you have any comment on that one?
I'd like to ask Mr. Giuliano from Radius to come up and explain the situation on item C before I move for action.
Good morning, Commissioners. Nick Giuliano, 5040 Grand Avenue, President and CEO of Radius. Thank you for considering our issue today. A little background. Radius opened in 2023. Our corporation was established in 2020. Nonprofit certification the same year. The land that our building is on was held by another owner until January of 2025. So tax year 2025 was the first year we were responsible for submitting a permissive tax exemption. That tax exemption application, I walked it into the assessor's office in April ahead of the July deadline. I didn't realize I'd misplaced the receipt. So later in the year, when I was checking with the assessor's office to confirm that we were tax exempt, They notified me that we were not and asked me to produce the receipt. And I said, I don't have the receipt. And so following their procedure, they said, well, without the receipt, there's no confirmation of a timely filing. So we are asking that you consider exempting a late filing for tax year 2025, and then moving forward, will be timely and be a reapproval in the future.
Thank you, Mr. Giuliano. I think Mr. Assessor is going to comment briefly.
Yeah.
Hi, Nick. We've spoken on the phone. Mike Goodwillie. Yeah. Let me provide, Mike Goodwillie, Douglas County Assessor, Register of Deeds Office. Let me provide a little bit of context. I think I don't have a huge disagreement with much of what Mr. Giuliano has said today. We first got an application from this organization in 2024, and when it turned out that they didn't actually own the property, that application kind of went away. I mean, you do have to own it. And we were a little bit surprised to see in 25 an exemption application for the business personal property the organization had. We received that on December 20th of 2024, but we don't think we saw an application for the real. And the reason I don't think we saw an application for the real is it's certainly possible, given the amount of filings that we get and the condition they sometimes come in, that you could misplace one of them. And in that scenario, when somebody insists that they filed and we don't have a copy of their application, we say, well, all right, send us a copy of what you filed. Okay? Most people keep a copy of what they file. And none was forthcoming. And then when Mr. Giuliano said, or somebody from the organization said, well, we brought it in person. Our standard practice is when somebody brings an application in to file paper and in person, we burn a copy and we send it home with them so they have it. And so in that scenario, I don't know if anything got filed or didn't get filed, but of course then the deadline went by, the tax bill went out on December 25th, and I imagine the reaction was, holy smokes, why are we getting a tax bill, okay? And so they reached out to us. We are past the June 30, 2025 filing deadline for 2025. They refiled for 25, and that's where this denial was coming from.
Thank you, Mr. Assessor. Mr. Rogers?
And so with that, Mr. Chair, I would move to amend the agenda on C instead of denial, if we could grant that with some grace with that. So that would be my motion.
Okay, there's a motion to grant the exemption for the organization tied to Resolution C by Rogers, second by Borgeson. Any further comment or question on this item? If not, we will vote on the motion to grant plus adjournment. All right.
Commissioner Fahey. Motion passes 7-0, but just to note for Mr. Giuliani, the Department of Revenue does have the final say on this matter. So, thank you.
All right, thank you. That adjourns equalization. We will jump into the Douglas County Noxious Weed Control Authority. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Borgeson. Commissioner Kavanaugh. Commissioner Fahey. Commissioner Friend. Commissioner Morgan. Commissioner Rogers. Mr. Chair.
Here. First item of business is the approval of the minutes of the Noxious Weed Control Authority held on Tuesday, November 18th, 2025. Do I have a motion and a second for that? Motion by Fahey, second by Morgan. Please vote.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. Next, we have a resolution authorizing the county weed superintendent to sign and serve notices on behalf of the Douglas County Noxious Weed Control Authority. Do I have a motion second for that resolution? Motion by Rogers, second by Morgan. Any comments or questions on this resolution? If not, we'll vote.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. Item 3 is a presentation and approval of the Douglas County Noxious Weed Control Authority's 25-26 annual reports for the Nebraska Department of Agriculture. So before getting to that approval, we'll first have the presentation. Mr. Reed?
All right, thank you, Chair Garcia, and good morning to you and to the board members. I'm Mike Reed. I'm Douglas County's Noxious Weed Control Superintendent from Douglas County Environmental Services. And today I'm going to be covering an item regarding the Lower Platte Weed Management Area, which Douglas County is a member of 11 other counties. I have them listed there: Lancaster, Seward, Cass, Sarpy, Saunders, Douglas, Dodge, Washington, Butler, Colfax, and Platte. All of those counties have signed an interlocal agreement. There we go. All of those counties have signed an interlocal agreement, and this is the map of the territory that we're working with. Our focus is the Platte River and all of its tributaries, and so that includes tributaries in all of the 11 counties, including Lancaster County, which does not have any portion of the Platte River, but they do have tributaries which flow into the Platte River. So Douglas County has obviously the Platte River on the western side of the county, and also the Missouri River is part of the Lower Platte Weed Management Area. So the Weed Management Area, for those that aren't familiar, is a way for counties to share resources and apply for grants. Also, the landowners of the county get a benefit because there's landowner cost share on noxious and invasive species throughout the Lower Platte River project, which takes place in the summer and fall every year. There we go. So this is a picture out of the window of the helicopter. So every summer, every August, a survey is conducted by the Lower Platte Weed Management Area, and we do GPS mapping. So I took this picture. This is a great day in August. I had the doors off in the helicopter. I can't tell you how many times I've been up in a helicopter for 4 or 5, 6 hours. It makes a big difference if the doors are off. A huge, huge difference. This is what the river should look like. You see bare sandbars. You see the sandbar off in the distance with a little bit of vegetation on it, but you want the Platte River to be a mile wide and a foot deep. You want the channel to be braided, and you don't want any kind of channel narrowing and impacts from annual species and noxious species, and then eventually trees, which establish permanent islands and create issues. Here's some of the benefits to Douglas County and working with the Lower Platte Weed Management Area. The proactive stream bed management decreases the likelihood of large-scale flooding. If you look at that sandbar there, if you imagine if you had a established island that had been growing for 10, 20, 30 years, and ice would hit that island, there's nowhere for that water to go but out. And so one of the ways we work with the natural resource districts is to identify those islands that need work. We work with the landowners, and the landowners have 50% of the control, and they have a stake in it too. And that cost is shared between the landowners and the weed management area. Another benefit of the weed management area is improving water quantity and quality. A lot of the drinking water for the landowners in the western part of Douglas County comes from the Platte River itself. There's a cost to the county to be a part of the weed management area that includes some dues and some contractor costs, but that is just a very small cost in considering the investment by the state and the natural resource districts. The landowners, as I mentioned, have 50% cost share. We're preserving that habitat for wildlife, and as well as Douglas County's recreation and tourism. So those three on the left provide a significant investment every year. The Papia, Missouri, NRD, Lower Platte North, NRD, Lower Platte South, NRD. Those three NRDs had to double their funding the last 2 years because the state had cut funding for riparian projects. And I'll get to that in a second. We're going to move forward with some new legislation, hopefully this afternoon, from Senator Ibaugh. And the question is that level of funding sustainable for those three NRDs? As they're contributing over $200,000 a year towards the river project and assisting not only Douglas County landowners, but all those landowners within those three NRDs and those 11 counties. So this afternoon at 1:30, I will be going down and testifying in support of LB 807, which is a funding source for the Department of Water, Energy, and Environment, using the Water Resources Cash Fund to fund riparian grant projects and help offset some of those costs from those NRDs. And also the state's water compacts and the state's right to the state's responsibility, to deliver water to the state of Kansas and the other water compacts of the state. The state has 5 different water compacts, and so the state is obligated to ensure that our rivers have enough water conveyance and quantity to deliver that water and that responsibility. Those projects will be administered by the Nebraska Department of Water, Energy, and Environment. Previously, the administration had been under the Department of Agriculture the last 2 years. So in 2024, the Department of Agriculture received administered zero grant dollars, even though funding was appropriated by the legislature. And last year, they administered only to those weed management areas which had water compacts, and the Central Platte and the Republican River jurisdiction for those things. So there's no dollars for the Lower Platte area for Douglas County for our Lower Platte weed management area, which our area is from Columbus all the way down to the confluence to the Missouri River. So there was no funding for the Lower Platte last year. It's anticipated that this will be a solid source of funding, which will utilize the Water Resources Cash Fund, which will utilize both NET funds and dollars appropriated from the legislature. Oh, thank you.
All right. Thank you for that presentation, Mr. Reed. We're going to go into the conversation here, starting with Commissioner Kavanaugh.
Thanks for this. I'm kind of interested in this island. I guess it's like page 3. So I've been back and forth to Lincoln a lot over my lifetime.
Yeah.
And I can remember it clogging up like at the interstate bridge between Sarpy and Cass, to the point where the river was as wide as that valley. I mean, miles and miles wide, cut it off the interstate, everything. And I think they had to like blow it up with dynamite or loosen it up somehow.
Are you talking about the ice there?
Sorry,
Are you referring to the ice?
I can't hear you.
Are you referring to the ice?
Yeah, ice.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. So, and I think that's what you were talking about. These islands could
Right.
get ice into the channel and stop it. So, do you remove these islands? How do you do that actually?
That's a very good question. So because those islands and that vegetation, though we're talking mostly about trees and other vegetation, trees are not a noxious weed, and so Douglas County, the natural resource districts have to work with the landowners, identify those islands, and say, look, we understand that this is not a noxious weed. However, this is the impact and outcome of this. And then in the past, we had utilized grant dollars from the state of Nebraska to address those islands and the flood control. And so those islands are first sprayed, and then the vegetation is removed. We're talking about large-scale kind of grinding projects where that material is taken down, and then those islands can scour again. So those islands need a bit of a hand these days because there's no historical floods that really move through, thankfully. But in absence of those historical floods, which would have scoured the islands, we need to do some other sorts of maintenance, and so that's up to the landowner.
So it's actually the trees that hold the sand in place at those islands.
Yeah, definitely. The perennial weeds and the trees, I would say. Yeah.
This LB 807, you consider that a good measure or not?
I consider a good measure. The Water Resources Cash Fund would move all of the weed management area projects along with the other natural resource district projects. It's really unknown if there's enough sufficient funding for everything. And so the NRD projects also focus on water quantity and quality projects. And so we're going to be moving this all in one direction. And so right now with the budget the way it was and the dollars not coming from the Department of Ag, even though they were appropriated, I think this is a positive measure to identify another funding source. I'm hopeful that 807 will be carried through the legislature if it sees the floor because it's identified a funding source. And I see it as a net positive to have some funding for these statewide projects, because if you take a year off, it's going to have some long-term consequences.
So where does the revenue for the Water Resources Cash Fund come from?
Both the legislature and Nebraska Environmental Trust.
And do you know the current balance of that cash fund?
I can get that to you, what that is, not offhand. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We will go to Commissioner Friend.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Hey, Mike, do you know when you go down there this afternoon, you hit on something? People are fighting hard over money, and it doesn't just start today. I mean, wait till they get to the appropriations measure. The natural resources districts have a taxing authority. I mean,
Right.
are they politically afraid to do it? I mean, in your opinion? They have a certain amount of taxing authority. What's your opinion? Why are they not addressing that? I know the Papillion district does, and they address it quite often.
Right.
What's your opinion on that?
I have heard from the other NRD managers within the Lower Platte that, is this level of funding sustainable for them, to contribute and double their funding this cost year after year. And so it's really stretching them quite a bit. And so they're at that level where that's the question for them is, do they raise their taxes, their tax base?
Right, and we could talk about it forever. Have fun this afternoon. That should be interesting.
Yeah, I don't know if I can answer for them, but yeah.
That's okay. I just like to be a fly on the wall. Maybe I'll watch it. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Any other comments or questions on the presentation today from board or public? Yep.
Luis Jimenez, 2709 Dewey Avenue. I'm not going to go over the report, but I'll show you an observation here. So this is the interlocal agreement that, like there's some buzzing going on. So this represents the participants in the local agreement. What I saw is mostly this outside of the green is the urban construction, which is mostly cement. So I think moving forward that the noxious weed department should focus and help with the infrastructure as it deals with time and weather. You hear a lot in Omaha about the streets getting potholes. Some call it chuck holes, and that's during the winter. But also during the summer, weeds take over, and not just in private properties, in public properties. And they start breaking up the right-of-ways and curbs, and that could be alleviated if there was a initiative or if there was information accessible in the website. There is a treatment that can start in January for these weeds, and not everybody does it. So that kind of information could benefit private and public individuals in Omaha and the surrounding area. Yeah, the weeds take over cracks, just like ice and water. And sometimes it's just poor quality infrastructure. The contractors that poured the cement, they didn't mix their cement or whatever, and it just falls apart. But the weeds don't help it. And so in the annual report that I want to contribute to is that if the information for urbanites about dealing with weeds could be available on the website, that'd be great. Thanks.
Thank you. Other comments or questions on the presentation? If not, thank you very much, Superintendent Reed, for that. And there is an approval that goes along for the reports that will go to the Department of Agriculture. Do I have a motion for that approval? Motion by Fahey, second by Morgan. We'll vote.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. And lastly, there is a item number 4, cancellation of treasurer's collection at Ginger Creek replat at the address listed there on the final agenda, which we can take up plus adjournment if desired. Motion to approve item number 4 as stated, plus adjournment by Rogers, second by Morgan. We'll vote on that.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. That concludes the noxious weeds control authority. We're going to jump next into our Douglas County Board of Corrections. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Borgeson, Commissioner Kavanaugh, Commissioner Fahey, Commissioner Friend, Commissioner Morgan, Commissioner Rogers, Mr. Chair.
Here. First item of business is the approval of the minutes of the Board of Corrections meeting held Tuesday, December 16th, 2025. Do I have a motion and a second? Motion by Rogers, second by Friend, I think it was. And we'll vote on that, please.
Commissioners Kavanaugh, Fahey, and Morgan. Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. Next, we'll go into the report from Director of Corrections, Director Myers.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
Michael Myers, Director of Corrections for Douglas County. You have before you the Board of Corrections report for December. Turning to enclosure number 1, Administrative Services and Personnel. Following the 6th month of our fiscal year, we were $1,600,813 under budget. We do have, as I always remind you, some significant expenditures regarding several projects that will be underway this fiscal year. $296,915 were spent on overtime costs in December. That is a slight increase from the previous month. About $760,000 in bond payments were processed by our records division. We had 8 officers below the rank of sergeant and 2 sergeants who left employment in December. This included 3 retirements. And speaking of those, I want to offer congratulations to Officers Val Sed and Creighton Fleming and Sergeant Paul Schmitz on their well-deserved retirements after many years of dedicated service to DCDC. 26 cadets have begun our training academy on January 5th. And as of December 31st, we were 99% staffed among all correctional officer ranks. And congratulations to Austin Hires and James McNally, who were promoted to sergeant. Turning to enclosure number 2, Community Corrections and Reentry Services, the Sanction Center and Transitional Discharge Center placed a total of 7 individuals in community corrections, saving 47 bed days. Work release admitted 13 individuals. House arrest admitted 43 individuals. and the Reentry Assistance Program, or RAP, admitted 21 individuals. Our reentry services and therapeutic communities in the jail, there were 92 individuals who were admitted to our therapeutic community housing units. There are currently 155 individuals on the GED waitlist with 53 active students. 36 individuals were referred to intensive outpatient therapy, or IOP. That's a pretty big number compared to other months. And 38 individuals received substance use disorder evaluations. Pretrial services, 238 individuals were placed on pretrial release in December. A total of 1,607 individuals were supervised on pretrial release during the month. 617 individuals participated in the 24/7 sobriety program. 172 individuals were supervised via GPS monitors, theoretically saving 4,013 bed days. Pretrial release theoretically saved Douglas County $682,210 in detention costs in December. And I'm going to divert from the rest of my report for a moment and bring up Heather Robinson. She is our Educational and Vocational Services Supervisor. And before I bring her up, Heather has really gone above and beyond and pushed the boundaries of of what we do educationally in our department out to more and more people and more different populations that in the past we didn't serve before. She's becoming known nationally for the work that she's done. She has had 2 articles published in American Jails magazine and is starting to have other people reach out to her for advice on their educational programs in their facilities. So with that, I'm going to bring Heather up. This is last month I cited some research and some work that she does on a semi-annual basis, and that prompted some questions from the board. So without further ado.
I'm Heather Robinson. Morning, how are you guys? So last month I do a semi-annual census every 6 months of the individuals that are 22 and under, and I see, did they graduate? If they did not graduate, do they know if they had an individualized education plan? And if they did graduate, can they tell me where they graduated from? So there were 170 people that were under 22 in the facility. There were 152 that were available for interview. Of those, 80 of them had not graduated from high school or earned a GED. 75 of them had, and about 5 of them graduated with me while they were incarcerated. Of those, the data tells us that probably 60% of them are IEP eligible. If you have an IEP or you've had one historically, you are required to still receive those special education services regardless of your incarceration status. And that is provided through a combination of GED at Douglas County and also with their local school district. Anyone have questions about that?
Any questions on that? Fahey, on that specifically or for the overall report? Okay, cool. I think we're good on that piece.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, turning to enclosure number 3, compliance.
Can Heather stay, though? I may have.
Oh.
It's just, I mean, not to the mic, but I may have questions at the end. I didn't know if she was leaving.
Perfect.
Oh, sorry.
Perfect. All right, enclosure number 3, compliance. We are continuing to gather all compliance-related data. Our Prison Rape Elimination Act, or PREA, audit was held the first week of December. We have received our initial written report. We are in the process of responding to various items in that report. The National Commission on Correctional Health Care, or NCCHC, audit will likely occur in May or June. And the American Correctional Association, or ACA, audit will occur the last week of October. Enclosure number 4, population. We had 1,263 admissions. Total for calendar year 2025 was 16,377. That is close to 1,000 more than we've had the previous few years. We had 1,290 releases in December, and correspondingly, we had an increase over the course of the whole year with 16,223. Our high count was 1,158, and our low count was 1,071. Our average daily populations was 1,112. That was a decrease of 26 from the month of November, though I will say that is roughly 175 people more than our ADP in December of 2024. So we have, as we would expect with the increase in admissions, we have also seen an increase in our ADP. The average length of stay for inmates who were released in December, the overall length of average was 27 days. 52.5% of inmates stayed longer than 72 hours, and their average length of stay was 50 days. 47.5% of inmates were released within 72 hours of being booked in, and their average length of stay was 1.3 days. There were 147 custodial sanctioned bed days. That is an increase. The U.S. Marshal average population increased from 78 to 84. The average daily felony pretrial population was 755, which is a small decrease. The average daily misdemeanor pretrial population was 122, which is a slight decrease. Probation violations also decreased. 20% of our population were between the ages of 18 and 24. 66% of our population were minorities. 15% of our population were female, and 20% of our population were homeless or nearly homeless. Turning to enclosure number 5, medical and mental health. There are 1,048 intake screenings and 429 health and physical assessments completed. There were 22 emergent medical care transports. 6 of those were by 911. Those resulted in 9 hospitalizations, totaling 31 days of combined hospitalization. There were 33 off-site specialty medical appointments. There were 151 initial psychiatric assessments. There were 387 initial mental health assessments. 105 individuals were placed on suicide precautions. 160 individuals were placed on alcohol and drug detox protocols. There was 1 Board of Mental Health referral approved. The Lincoln Regional Center waitlist is 14. There are currently 20 of our individuals at the Lincoln Regional Center, and 3 individuals were administered a total of 9 doses of Narcan or Opfi. I did want to say, and I've neglected to put it in this report, we currently have an exceptional combination of medical conditions that our staff are caring for right now, including 3 people with cancer, some quite serious, and strokes, very high-risk pregnancies. It is a very demanding population we have right now in terms of health care. Turning to enclosure number 6, security operations and honor guard. Our crisis negotiation team, or CNT, was deployed 5 times in December. 3 were in conjunction with our emergency response team, or CERT. One time for an incident involving property damage by an individual who was threatening others. 1 for a cell extraction, and 3 times for medically mandated showers. All of these incidents were resolved without the need for physical force. Our correctional emergency response team, or CERT, was deployed 7 times in December. Issues addressed those medically mandated showers, refusal to transfer to a higher security unit, and a high-risk medical transport. No injuries were reported during any of these incidents. There were 13 area searches conducted. Recovered items included altered batteries, springs, a brown leafy substance, altered headphones, and excessive linen. The Honor Guard supported the Omaha Police Department's Wreaths Across America mission in December. Staff injuries, we had 1 staff member who was assaulted, 4 who were injured during use of force incidents, 7 who were injured during training, and 1 other injury of an officer that slipped and fell and injured their knee. Enclosure number 7, staff development, wellness, and retention. There were 118 applications received for correctional officer positions. There were 23 interviews conducted. 26 candidates did begin the academy on January 5th. TAP, or the Tactical Athlete Program, 4-day training is ongoing for all staff. Non-custody staff receive a 1-day self-defense version of TAP. All staff will have been trained in TAP by February. Policy updates regarding TAP and Strategic Inmate Management, or SIM, are ongoing. 17 staff members utilized the Wellness and Retention Office. 3 staff members were referred to external mental health resources. We are, something that we've needed to do, and I'm glad that we are finally getting it done, a new leadership curriculum for our supervisory staff will be launched in March. Our Spring Wellness Fair will be held on March 24th, and preparations are underway for that. And planning is underway for Corrections Week activities, which will occur during the first week of May. Other noteworthy items, promotional interviews were conducted with 16 candidates for sergeant. 2 were promoted in December. We have begun operational planning meetings for our mental health edition, which will open in late 2026. We are covering topics to include staffing levels for custody, medical, and mental health staff, training and selection of staff, staff uniforms, reentry resources, daily routines and programming, and a host of security-related topics. We have developed additional safety and security protocols to address an increase in spontaneous assaults on our staff members. And we don't discuss our security-related information in a public forum, but I can say we solicited input from a broad cross-section of our staff and developed collaborative solutions to help mitigate future risk. During the course of December, finally, it became clear that we were going to lose Captain Patrick West to his medical condition. Our staff rallied, as they always do, donating a very large care package and writing their thoughts on a large banner. I had the honor of delivering that care package to Pat just before Christmas, and Pat passed away on January 2nd. I am going to reserve more commentary on that at the Board of Corrections report in February on the 10th, when his family will be here and we will honor Pat's life and service to Douglas County with a resolution at that time. And I'm now ready for any questions you may have.
Thank you, Director Myers. Let me circle back to Commissioner Fahey, who had a light on earlier.
Thank you. Director Myers, first, thank you for the report. First question. Regarding the 1.6 million, we're under budget, and I do understand that there's significant expenses coming up. So I guess just my question is, there's no reason at this point to expect that when we get to year end, we're going to be necessarily substantially under budget. Something may change, but we're still more or less on track.
We are on track. There is a project to replace obsolete locks and some doors at different portions of the jail that we can no longer get parts for. That has a close to a $900,000 price tag in and of itself, and those bills haven't started coming in yet, so a good portion of that 1.6 will be eaten up by that project.
Okay, thank you. And then regarding the GED wait list, and I know this is something we touched on within the last year, so if any of this is repetitive, I apologize. I just sometimes have to hear things more than once to get it through my thick skull. When we talk about that wait list with 53 active students, what's the rotation like in the sense of, like, are those 155 going to get through the GED program eventually?
It depends on how long they stay. Unfortunately, because I am the only teacher for everyone in the jail, with about, I mean, if you add the 53 in, you're looking at over 200 people that are waiting for GED, plus some of the people that are 22 and under who haven't requested, but I know are also waiting. You have probably 225 people waiting for services, and GED rotates as people graduate or as they are released. So it can be a while sometimes for people to get into class. I try to get the people that are currently already enrolled in school in so that their schools can continue to provide services with them and keep that continuity. But it can be a little bit.
And I don't think it's probably worth your time or staff time to get us an exact number on this, but if we could ballpark like an average wait time on the list, knowing that there's, or maybe the mean of it, knowing there's probably a wide variance.
3 to 4 months.
Okay. I think just from, and I'd be curious to hear from both of you on this. I mean, are we okay with that? This is not a trick question. I genuinely want to know. I mean, is that, obviously we all want more resources. We'd love to have everybody getting educated all the time, but is that an acceptable number? Is that not acceptable?
You know, Commissioner Fahey, people earning a GED is one of the most tangible benefits that we can provide. I mean, we have a lot of different types of services for mental health, teaching people how to think without hurting themselves or others and solving their problems in a pro-social way. You know, the drug and alcohol recovery programs that we offer are all very important, but this is the most tangible thing that, you know, that folks can walk out and have a shot at a better existence than what they had before they came in. So no, I'm not. It's not acceptable in my opinion, and I, you know, I bring this up every time because, you know, I do want to demonstrate that need, and I hope that we can increase the resources and maybe add another instructor in an upcoming fiscal year.
It would strike me as a non-pedagogue, but like short of adding an instructor, I mean, Heather is one person. I know she's doing the work of more than one person, but that's pretty much the most direct option we have for getting that wait list down. There's not much else.
No, adding another person who can absorb another, you know, get another classroom, start absorbing that wait list is the answer, I believe.
All right. Well, hey, thank you both for your time. Appreciate it.
Go to Commissioner Kavanaugh.
Thanks for this. It's good to have these kind of look backs that we've talked about because it gives us kind of a perspective on things that we otherwise would kind of miss. So I'm looking at page 6 and 7, and we've got this overtime. Well, it's got staffing, and staffing's doing good. I mean, you're at near 100% across the board, and that's great. But the overtime has some interesting elements, I guess. You can actually see the variation month to month going back a year, a little more than that, a year and a half. But it says in the, I believe in the 2025 one, that training hours totaled 4,438. And in the 2026 one, training hours totaled 8,740, which is, you know, a considerable increase. It's almost double, I guess.
Yeah. So
just wonder if there's some reason that's not apparent there.
So the training, so that would be a monthly total, and this is from the month of this page 6 is from June of last year. So you get the graphical representation going back 12 months from there. When we started all of these fiscal charts are reset at the start of each fiscal year. So I'm including the previous fiscal year to compare to this fiscal year.
And I kind of see that because August sticks out in both years.
Correct.
It is a little bit seasonal. Is that what you're saying?
Well, our training, you know, it depends on what initiatives we have going on. Like right now, we've been doing the tactical athlete training, getting everybody through that, a 4-day course. That has added to the amount of training hours that we have in a particular month. And you can see the overtime, you know, it's interesting to me that August is always the highest, but that actually probably has to do with us. That's when it hits the payroll, and since we're paid in arrears, it's actually vacation that was taken in July, which is probably just the peak time for
Gotcha.
people to use their
Okay.
leave.
And on the ethnic racial thing, on page 40, we're still overwhelmingly majority minority, 66% with black inmates being way overrepresented at 44% of the whole population, whites at only 33%. Again, I point this out, it's beyond your control, but it's a troubling, consistent, chronic statistic. On page 9, again, this is kind of a look-back thing, which is interesting. We have the work comp from June 24 to December 25, and just anomalous. October 24 and November 24, there don't appear to be any work comp hours. I think these are hours, right? Something like that.
Yes, I believe so.
And then in the same period, October 25, November 25, you know, well, November's the highest one of the year. It's just an anomaly, a luck of the draw kind of a thing.
Yeah, it's
right?
just if you have one person who was seriously injured and didn't work for a month.
And
they're
that
gonna
brings
have-
me to my next question, which is this injury thing.
10 seconds.
Which is troubling. On page 3, you note 13 injuries of staff for various reasons, from assault to, well, we can come back.
We'll come back. Let me go to Commissioner Borgeson.
Thank you, and I do have a question for Heather, if I could. Thanks, Heather, for this. It triggered, I think Mike said last month when he gave the report, and it was the 22 and under population that we were kind of targeting, if you will, to get this data. And then when it went to the 60% of them being IEP eligible, it kind of made me wonder two things. The rest of the population in our jail, is there a way, I know it's big, is there a way that we assess the entire population to figure this out? And then two, when you're doing this particular work with these 22 and under, does it include any female folks for the female population?
So the 22 and under is everyone in the jail who's 22 and under. It doesn't matter if they are men or they're women. So I didn't separate out on that one, but I can get that data pretty easily. There's a way to tell for the entire population. The issue is more logistical than anything else, because I went through and interviewed all of those people, and interviewing the entire jail would probably take me a while.
Yeah.
Especially with the turnover. By the time I finish it, it probably wouldn't be reflective of that moment. But yeah.
So when you interview them, is there like, what I'm wondering is if our social workers could help out in this regard. Like, they have a questionnaire that they go through and an assessment that they go through. Is there something on that assessment that you would be able to include that would give us some information on this?
We could ask if they graduated or didn't graduate high school, or if they've earned a GED or not. And then if that information is sent to me, I can follow up on that. I just don't know that there's a good system in place to do that. But in theory, you could do it.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I'm sorry to jump in. I think that, I mean, our reentry services staff could do that. The issue is it'll never be complete, because if you call my population report, you have half of the people getting out within 72 hours, and so it's unlikely you're going to get the opportunity, you know, to hit those interviews that quickly, because you're talking, you know, about 600 and some people that got out, you know, averaging 1.3 days in custody. So we're never going to be able to get a complete total, but we can get a more complete total.
Well, with that high percentage, I mean, 60% being IEP eligible, that's when I'm thinking, okay, so if we ask the questions like you just said, have you graduated? Do you have your GED? or even did you have an IEP? Though, to me, it would be good data, not that we could do a whole lot, but we could potentially do something to prepare them when they're being discharged.
So I do follow up with the ones that are under 22 since they're still legally entitled to services about whether or not they had an IEP. Some of them are fairly poor reporters and don't know what an IEP is. So
right.
then we get releases and we submit the releases to their school district and then get those back to see if they qualify.
All right.
For the individuals that are over 22, if they're 22 to 25, they're still eligible for transitional services provided by their local school district. And for GED testing accommodations, if they've had an evaluation within the last 5 years that would show up on an IEP, they are entitled to testing accommodations. So then if you're 23 and under, I still try to pull your school records if they're okay with it in order to see if they at least get testing accommodations.
Okay. Well, again, thank you for your work. It's good work, and I don't mean to give you more work.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Cameron, did you want to end the round?
So just some of the metrics, Mike, we've got the average daily population at 1,112, which is down 26, always good to have it lower. Average length of stay, 27 days, with 45% less than 72 hours. So our population is pretty transient. And about this injuries thing, which is troubling on page 3, we had 13 folks injured on the staff in the month. Like I said, everything from assaults to, I think like a slip and fall maybe would have been one of them. But it goes to show that this is a dangerous job. And these public servants are putting themselves in harm's way. That's, you know, a fair percentage, just if you took it, of the corrections officers, that's a fair percentage. And again, it can vary month to month, but I don't know too many jobs where you have 13 people injured every month, certainly not county commissioner jobs. But these are dangerous jobs, and I think these people should be noted for their bravery in putting themselves forward to help our community stay safe. The last thing I would point out is that the page 48 Board of Mental Health Lincoln Regional Center numbers are pretty instructive about how broke our long-term care system is. So the Board of Mental Health, you see, finds a limited number of people every month who are in need of long-term care. The Lincoln Regional Center, where they're supposed to say, has no capacity. And so the highest number on this graph are people waiting for placement in the Lincoln Regional Center. And it's always, it looks like since August, above 20. Those people are in our jail population, right?
Yes, they are.
Yeah. And we have no long-term care in this county. And so whatever we're doing is failing at least 20 people plus a month because the fiction that the state has anything to do with long-term care is accepted by everybody, and there's no provision for long-term care made locally. It's just, you know, bad in the correction setting. It's worse in the non-correction setting, the general population. And it's something that when we talk about providing mental health services is totally overlooked again and again. I just point that out again, beyond your control, but it's certainly something that if we're ever going to have a serious discussion about long-term care, we might take into consideration that these people are just locked up for their mental health condition. That's a great place to treat people with long-term care needs. Thank you for this. Thank you for the job you're doing.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you. Other comments from board or public on director's report? Larry.
Thank you, Mr. Larry Storr, 5015 Lafayette Avenue. Excuse me. 68132. I followed this gentleman and the justice system and the juvenile justice system, restorative justice for quite a few years here in this building. Very interesting. I like what I hear. I like what I think I see. However, I have a relative of mine that the system has failed. And it failed because people didn't listen. The system was not appraised of the true facts because he was not allowed to speak for himself. But everybody says that he did. And that's not true. My grandson was not allowed the type of services that these fine people offer, that you people helped him build. Because the people that care for him don't do these kind of things. But nobody listens. I talked with a former commissioner of mine about this situation, and she said, yes, indeed, he does have a mental health situation. But I can't get anybody in this state to talk about it, and I'd like to know why. So I've been forced to even send a letter to the Attorney General saying this needs to be investigated because it's a failure of the system, the whole system, not just yours or his, but the state. He's not been accorded care as he should have been in a correction center here for an offense that he committed in Douglas County because his caregivers did not disclose the facts and I was not allowed to speak. That's a failure of the system, ladies and gentlemen. The judge and the lawyers were not appraised of his mental health condition. Now I know I have a copy of his MRI from childhood days that proves he is missing the major part of the brain, which has lots of consequences to his ability to understand, his ability to rationalize and express. I sat and had private supper with the original Rain Man and his father. Father's name is Fran Peak. The Rain Man, Kim Peak. I told him I was from Omaha, and he read the phone book from Omaha. He could read 2 books at a time, one with this eye and one with that eye. But he knew Omaha. It was a very interesting thing, and I've been to 3 or 4 of these conventions. People that have these situations, the parents, the caregivers, the patient, but also the professionals and all of their best practices, going way back to 2008. But this all started in grade school. And it failed in grade school because of behavior modification. The therapy that he gets now is behavior modification. We threw that out the window a long time ago because it doesn't work with people that don't understand it. Dad used to modify my behavior by taking me to the woodshed or my principal. Stick my nose against the wall for a couple hours.
10 seconds.
But the system has failed him. He belongs in the corrections center here in Omaha because he committed the crime here in Omaha. Not in what used to be an extended care home, which is worse than a prison. I know.
That's time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Other comments or questions on the director's report? If not, we'll conclude. Thank you, Director Myers. And I'll take a motion to conclude Board of Corrections. Motion by Rogers, second by Morgan. Let's vote.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. We will jump into Board of Commissioners. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Borgeson? Commissioner Kavanaugh? Commissioner Fahey? Commissioner Friend? Commissioner Morgan? Commissioner Rogers? Mr. Chair.
Here. Before jumping into Section 1, I'm going to give Commissioner Borgeson a quick point of personal privilege.
will just take 10 seconds, but I just felt it was important to make our voices heard, and because I've struggled with what to say or do regarding everything that's happening to our friends in Minnesota. And then I heard what Jimmy Kimball said, and to me it says it all. So to our friends and our family and our colleagues, we see you, we hear you, we are with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Borgerson. We will go into section 1 with items A, B, and C. A being the approval of the minutes of the Board of Commissioners meeting held Tuesday, January 13th, 2026. B being the approval of claims submitted for payment process through Tuesday, January 27th, 2026. And C being a claim for payment to Delta Dental presented as an exception. Do I have a motion second for all three? Motion by Morgan, second by Rogers. Let's vote.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. We'll next go into our consent agenda, items A through I. Do I have a motion and second for discussion? F1 and 2. Motion to approve the consent agenda except items F1 and 2, which we'll take separately. That motion was by Rogers, second by Morgan. We'll go into comments and questions, starting with Commissioner Kavanaugh.
Just for purposes of the public's awareness, item E, agreement between the National Captioning Institute and Douglas County for the purpose of providing closed caption services during various Douglas County meetings. I presume this would be Douglas County Board meetings, which is a great thing. I do a lot of closed captioning at home. And for the price that we're talking about, and I think it's someplace under $10,000 a year, it looks like. People with hearing disabilities will be able to follow it along. I think I'm right on this, and I commend the clerk for putting this on the agenda, but this would be available to people, Mr. Clerk, on the public broadcast of this meeting, is that correct?
Dan Esch, Douglas County Clerk, yes, correct.
That's great. And it sounds like it'll be fairly immediate. It says it would begin upon the effective date of this, which would be, I guess, today, if we approve it, right?
Yeah, they have a separate agreement with the city of Omaha as well. I'm not sure if that's getting approved today or not. I didn't check the city's agenda. But yeah, basically this gets the ball rolling on. I got to be honest, I don't know if they're going to start providing services by the next meeting already, but I mean, the goal would be to get it going as soon as possible, so.
Okay. So the city council would be doing kind of the same thing?
Correct, yeah.
Yep. Would this relate to our committee meetings as well? If you know.
So Sybil Hilton Spencer from .com is on Zoom. She might be able to answer. I don't think so, just because I think YouTube already handles, like there's already a closed captioning option, because we don't do those live through channel 18. You know, it's just zoomed, and then a copy is a recording is made available on our website. So I think it's just for meetings held in this location and televised on Cox Channel 18.
Thank you. Well, a real step in the right direction. Thanks. I support this.
Was there a comment on Zoom about that?
Yes, this is Sybil Spencer-Hilton with .com, and I worked with the committee to review the services, and it would be for any meeting that is broadcast that is in the legislative chambers. Those are public meetings, and it would be for all of the meetings that are held within the legislative chambers, whether they're city or county.
Got it. Thank you so much for that added context there. Any
No problem.
more comments or questions on consent agenda minus F1 and 2?
Just my apologies to Sybil. I think pretty sure I switched around her last name, so sorry, Sybil.
No problem.
All right. If none, we'll vote on consent agenda minus F1 and 2.
One moment, please. Okay, thank you. Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. We're going to circle back to F1 and 2. Commissioner Rogers, did you want to comment at all? Okay, just need to abstain. Very good. Otherwise, do I have motion second for F1 and 2? Motion by Fahey, second by Morgan. Any comments or questions on F1 or 2? If not, we'll vote.
Motion passes. Commissioner Rogers abstaining. All other commissioners voting yes.
Thank you. We'll jump to section 5, recognitions and proclamations. We have 2 items. Item A is a recognition of a county employee retirement for Ms. Julie Knotts, who worked for Douglas County Corrections for 16 years. Director Myers, did you want to kick us off on that one?
Good morning again, Commissioners. Michael Myers, Director of Corrections for Douglas County. Julie has served the department for over 16 years, and she was a records supervisor. And, we talk a lot about our corrections officers, as we should, but the support services are just as important. In terms of keeping people's rights intact, keeping making sure their property, their funds, everything is tracked, their mail, everything. Our records department does a lot of work, and that does have an impact on the safety and security of the facility as well, because if we didn't do that effectively and efficiently, we would have unrest among our population. So, they don't get the attention they deserve in our records staff, our support services, because they do serve a vital role for our department. So with that, I want to thank Julie for her service to Douglas County and wish her a very healthy and long and happy retirement. And with that, I'm going to give her this plaque that says, in appreciation for her 16 years of dedicated service, which began on December 9th, 2009 and concluded on January 12th, 2026. The Douglas County Department of Corrections would like to congratulate Julie Knotts on her retirement. We wish you a happy retirement with sincere appreciation for your dedication, loyalty, and distinguished service. Congratulations and best wishes. So thank you, Julie.
Thank you. It was a long journey. Came from Oriental Trading Company in a layoff, and I found the best place I could. It's been just wonderful, the staff. I couldn't have found a better place. It's been a family. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for your years of dedication here at Douglas County. I'll take a motion to approve that resolution, and we'll take a quick picture. Oh, yes, for sure, Commissioner Morrison.
I just want to thank you for being here, because it's important, as Mike said, to recognize those that do a lot of the work in the background that we don't see or hear about, and your dedication to your job for what you did for us, for Douglas County, is so much appreciated. So enjoy your retirement, and again, thank you for what you did for us. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
We got a motion to approve by Morgan. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Borgeson. We'll go ahead and vote.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. All right. We do have one more recognition today, which is for another county employee who is retiring, for Miss Annette Johnson, who worked for Douglas County Sheriff's Department for 29 years. Captain Peterson, you want to kick us off?
Good morning. Captain Peterson, Douglas County Sheriff's Office, Court Services Bureau. On behalf of Sheriff Hansen, Chief Deputy Niemock, and Wren, Annette Johnson wasn't able to join us today, but I did want to come up here, publicly thank her for years of service with us. She first started off with us, I don't know what the official job title was, but she essentially paid all of our bills and ordered all our equipment and everything, kept track of our budget and so forth. Most recently, last 5 or 6 years, she's been our executive secretary, basically running the department behind the background, so forth. I will say if there was any questions that any supervisor, all the way up to the sheriff, if we had any questions about contract related, payroll, anything like that, she was completely well in tuned with everything. She was kind of our go-to person with these items. So she still has a few months left to transition into retirement. She's currently training our new administrative secretary, Stacy Ackley. That would be her replacement, but she will be sorely missed. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. All right, Captain Peterson, thank you for that. And Johnson, we do want to recognize you, and we do have a resolution here honoring your 29 years of service to Douglas County citizens from the Board of Commissioners. So if I can get a motion for approval of that. Motion by Borgeson, second by Morgan, and we'll vote on that.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. All right. Next week, we'll have a presentation from the new Douglas County Election Commissioner, Danielle Jensen. So that will be done next week, which takes us to committees for today. Under Finance Committee, we have the budget report as presented, as well as the monthly fee report also as presented. Under Human Services, we do have a weekly personnel report from Civil Service as presented. Today, we do have a need for executive session for the purpose of contract negotiation and legal advice. The motion is second to go into exec session. Motion by Rogers, second by Morgan. Please vote.
Sorry, Commissioner Borgeson, are you voting yes? I cut you off. Yep, okay. All right. Motion passes 7-0. Commissioner Borgeson is voting yes.
We will now go into executive session for the purpose of legal advice and contract negotiation. Thank you.
Motion to reconvene and adjourn by Commissioner Borgeson, second by Commissioner Rogers. Motion passes 7-0. We're adjourned at 10:35 a.m.